I feel thankful for roller skating.
Hi, I'm Mean and this is Wheels on Wheels, a talk show about roller skating.
Harmony, who uses she/they pronouns, is a self-taught park and street skater based in Ottawa, Ontario, and a former derby player with Ottawa Roller Derby. She is the former admin of Quad Mob Ottawa, formerly known as CIB Ottawa, and has taught many skaters how to park skate. She starred in the CBC documentary I Am Limitless. She is an active member of the Ottawa skate community. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
So you're a bit of a legend in the Ottawa skate community. How did you get started roller skating, and how long have you been roller skating?
I was learning Spanish, and when you're learning a language, you start off with really easy things to understand. So I was watching this kids show from Argentina called Soy Luna, and it's kind of like High School Musical, but in addition to the singing and dancing, they have roller skating. So I watched this whole 80 episode seasons, 3 seasons, 40-minute episodes. I watched the entire thing. And at some point, I was inspired to pick up a pair of roller skates, strap them on, and I've never taken them off.
And how many years would you say that is that you've been roller skating?
2017 is when I started. 7 years, yeah. I feel like I've put in a lot of time on my skates, and I think it's paid off.
I think so too. You were the admin of Quad Mob Ottawa, right? So how did you get involved in that?
CIB Ottawa did exist before I was skating, but they were quite inactive. So I just contacted the person who was admin at the time. I was like, hey, I'm really passionate about this. I want to get people involved and get people skating. Can I take over? And she gave me the reins, and we kind of exploded. It was right at the start of the big Moxie boom in 2019, 2020. And so I was pestering everyone at Derby. There were so many meetups that I planned and made posts and made posters, and it was just me at the park. But eventually people started coming and we grew. I eventually made a Dischord group, and that's where a lot of the discussion for Quad Mob planning and events organization, all of that takes place on the Dischord. And I think there's several hundred people in there now, and everyone's got a place to go to find out where to skate. We're really active in trail skating, in park skating, and also I did run lessons. I'm not sure that I am the greatest teacher in the world, but it was a fun thing to do, to be able to share my love of skating with other people.
So Gloria Guns did mention that you taught her how to park skate, and apparently a lot of people how to park skate. It was kind of like a 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon, or 5 degrees of Harmony. So tell me about teaching people how to park skate.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot just kind of by myself, figuring out okay, well, I want to drop it on this ramp. How do I do it? And falling a lot and getting hurt a lot. I've never gotten any major injuries, which is very nice. But I found myself teaching other people. I just love teaching other people. I've been through the process of learning all of these really scary things to do on skates. So I think an important thing is just being confident, which is hard to do at the start. But knowing when to go and being able to just, okay, I'm just gonna go full commit.
It is so hard to commit, yeah, especially something you're trying for the first time.
Yeah, that's why I really love Quad Mob, because you're there with all of your friends. You're part of a community, right? And friends are all there to cheer you on, whether you're dropping in or doing 360s off of ramps or whatever. It doesn't matter where you are, your friends are going to support you there. Everyone's super supportive, and I have so much fun at the park. So I want to make it so that other people are like that. And that even now that I've left Quad Mob Ottawa admin role, at least, but it's still thriving. There are still lots of people. There are meetups every couple of weeks, if not more. There's so much happening in the community, and I'm just happy that it can blossom, even if I'm not dragging Gloria to the park from derby practice.
I feel like you don't have to drag her anymore.
You have to drag her out of the park.
Yes. there anything you think could improve within the skating community?
Collaboration. I feel like there are really like silos, right? A lot of the derby people stay within derby. A lot of the dance people stay within dance community. The park and outdoor skating community, like most of them are either dance or derby people, but I feel like there could be more opportunities for cross promotion and collaborative events. There's lots of opportunities for everyone to skate in different ways. We need people teaching dance.
Yeah,
we need people teaching dance. No one knows how to. People do, because like I see them at OQS, but like I don't know what even to start with. Yeah, people are wild at dancing, and it's just something that I look at dance skaters in the same way that like non-skaters look at me at the park and be like, whoa, like what is going on here? It's very normal. Like, yeah, you jump on the rail. Like
just jump on
you
the
just
rail.
jump on the rail. For dance skaters, it must be, yeah, I mean, you just do the specific move, whatever. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Where are your toe stops?
I am with you. I'm with you. They make it look so effortless, but it's so hard. You were the star of a CBC documentary called I Am Limitless.
One of the stars. There were 3 amazing women, and I was just but one of them. My postcard from I Am Limitless.
So are these the other stars of the documentary?
So they're both skateboarders, was a founding member of 613 Girls Skate. You know, just like elder skater in the Ottawa community, did a lot for female skateboarding community in Ottawa. It was a pleasure to work with both of them and just hear their perspectives on how difficult it can be to break into the park when you're surrounded by people who don't look like you. It's hard to be in a space that doesn't seem like it was made for you, and it's not being occupied by people who are similar to you. I talked about leadership in the skate park, fitting in as the trans person at a skate park dominated by cis men on skateboards is like, it's a tough experience, and especially when you're not good, it's hard to, you know, feel comfortable in that space. For people to understand, you stick out like a sore thumb, right? It's just important to push through, and you know that space is for you, even if the people around you aren't doing the things that you do, aren't wearing the same things that you're wearing, or don't look the same way as you do. It's really important to just take the space because it is yours. I spoke a lot to my process, getting more familiar at the parks, reviving CIB Ottawa and growing the park skating community, at least to where it is today.
I just find it so inspiring that you had this experience, that you did feel unwelcome when you started, but then you took that and then you made space for other people to feel welcome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember like getting like cussed out at the park because I existed, or, you know, I would be completely just doing my own thing and people would be telling me that I'm in the way or whatever, and which I wasn't. I was like taking my turns and not staying on one element when someone was trying to do something there, or doing the correct things but still getting cussed out just because I'm on skates. I'm not on a skateboard. When I look the way that I do or whatever. And I have so much fun at the park. So I want to make it so that other people are like that.
Have you felt like it's become easier to skate at skate parks?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. People mostly leave me alone now. One thing I'd say, before going to a skate park for the first time, just figure out the rules, go Google them, and really think about that as you're going to the park. Take your turn. Don't sit on boxes. That's like a pet peeve of mine, because I really love grinding boxes or doing turns off of boxes, and people will just sit on them and like, guys, this is a skate park. Yeah, just like learn etiquette of the park, and that makes it a lot easier. Plus, I'm not like lingering around and falling anymore, so people just leave me alone. But carving out that space for other people is important to me too. I always like to go to parks with people, and as they're gearing up, skate around a little bit so that the other skaters will back off a little bit. Because when you show up with a bunch of roller skaters to a park, if people there are not used to you being there. You know, like McNabb people are very, very nice, and they know we come there a lot. But I've gone to parks in other cities and I rolled up with people, and like not common for roller skaters to be at parks in every place in the world, right? So being able to go around, do a couple of tricks, and kind of calm everyone down. Okay, fine, you can be here.
You've traveled a lot, roller skated a lot of places. Do you feel like that's kind of a general thing?
I remember I was in Vancouver and I found a skate park that was nearby where I was staying, and I just happened to wander into the local Vancouver queer skate whatever group because I wasn't planning on going to this meetup, but I just happened to show up and there was a bunch of queer people there and it was amazing. And then there was one person on roller skates, and I was just so blown away. This is 2019. It was still kind of rare to see people on roller skates at skate parks. And I saw them and I was like, oh my God, roller skates. And when you hear that at the park, you're like, I'm about to get like chewed out for not being on a skateboard, or like classic, like, oh, I haven't seen those since the 70s. And you're like, okay, I'm getting ready for a bad interaction. But then they like turned around and saw me on skates and they're like, oh, what? That's amazing. And like instantly, like we were skating together, doing like doubles runs and like teaching each other stuff. It was a lot of fun. It was great. The thing about me, I learned to do my rotations, my turns backwards, because no one was telling me what to do. So I lead with my right foot. I should be turning over my right shoulder, but I turn over my left shoulder. And is there a right or wrong way, whatever. But like when it got to doing backside stalls, which are like you come up straight on the coping and then you 180 onto the coping. And then if you want to do a backside slide, you do that and then slide. You want to lead with your right foot going forward. So if I turn with my right foot this way, my right foot is leading the rotation and will be able to slide on the coping.
Okay.
But if I turn over my left shoulder, then my left foot is leading and my weak foot is trying to slide, which doesn't work. So yeah, I had to completely reteach myself how to do 180s about 4 years into skating.
That's so hard.
It was horrible. And I can't really do 360s over my right shoulder. I always go over my left. But 180s, at least I've gotten going there.
That is such a flex, being able to do it on both sides, though.
I have pulled that out in competitions every so often and be like, oh yeah, I can do a switch backside stall because that's just how I learned how to do it. It's technically easier for me.
So can you tell me about some of the competitions you've competed in for skate park?
Yeah, I was in the inaugural Montreal Cup, Poutine Cup. I got top 6 that year, which I was super thrilled for. When they announced the Montreal Cup and they gave the layout, there was a pickup truck in the middle of the park that they had integrated into the skate park setup. I kept telling people I was going to jump the truck. I was like, yeah, like there'll be ramps there. I'll jump the truck, whatever. And then I got to the street setup and I quickly realized I was not going to be able to jump the truck. It was too big. The ramps were not really meant to have you be able to jump right over the truck. So I just kept telling everyone that I was going to jump the truck. I just kept hyping it up throughout the weekend. And then on my very last run, I got the host to hype up the crowd that I was going to jump the truck. And then I got this guy.
Yes.
And I put it on the ground and I jumped over it.
It's the truth. You jumped the truck.
I did jump the truck.
You jumped the truck.
I just love making people laugh and thinking outside of the box. I've skated in a couple of other competitions. I feel like the skating pool has gotten really, really good, and I haven't really been learning new things. I'm very happy in my abilities and what I can do, and haven't really pushed myself to learn more.
And what's your favorite trick?
Down rails.
Oh, that's scary.
No, it's great because it's not that a lot of people don't do down rails. It's just like really, really showy. I find rails quite easy. I don't know, that's my thing, right? Like Gloria is really great at side stands. I can't do side stands at all. And I really, really love doing rails. So the natural progression to down rails has been a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot better at down rails recently.
Is there a trick that you're aspiring to?
Oh, yeah, combo grinds. I need to get combo grinds, which is like where you start like a front side or like a sole. And then you change up to like a box or like a macchio or whatever, and be able to do 2 grinds on 1 rail. That seems incredible. And there are lots of folks in Vancouver and in Montreal, at least that I know, that are really, even Toronto, there's a lot of really great skaters out of Toronto that can do all of these huge grinds and change ups, and I don't know where to start.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen some of the Montreal skaters at the skate barn
They're
doing
wild.
they
Yeah.
are insanely good.
Yeah,
So
they're
good.
so talented. That's what I mean by like, feel like I'm pretty good at park skating, but I'm like near that level. It's so amazing what some of these people do on their skates.
I have a really good memory of you skating in the Pride Parade. Was it last year? And jumping over people.
I've done that many years. It's been a mainstay of my participation at Pride events. I don't skate flat, right? It's hard for me to do something showy on flat, so jumping over people, like, it's pretty simple, showy. I remember when everything was shut down for pandemic, a few of us in the skating community would have like weekly skates at like ground areas outside, and we got to the point where we were like putting more people down and seeing how many. I think I got to 3 or 4 at one point.
Wow.
At that point, we just got like a measuring tape out, and I got to like 2.5 meters or something like that. It was fun.
Is this the turtle that was on Gloria's butt?
Yes, multiple times. Yeah. It's been on a lot of butts. Not yours yet.
No.
If you're willing.
It'll be the most pads that I've worn in a long time.
I was gonna do a mystery, but I didn't. I really like doing the air on the girls. Go Harmony! Easy!
You don't actually usually wear a lot of pads, right? I'm not the pad police, but I find it so incredible that you've done these crazy stunts.
I think of it a lot of as risk assessment. So I know where my abilities are. I know if I'm skating down the street, yes, it's possible that I'm going to fall down. It's less likely that I'm going to fall down skating flat on like a path or a bike lane or something like that, than if I'm doing something like dropping into an 11-foot bowl. So it depends on what I'm doing. If I be trying a new trick that I am not very familiar with, then I'll put on the knee pads. I'll put on a helmet. If I'm just going to the park to jam a session with some friends, and I'm not going to take it too intense, like, yeah, I'll forego some safety protection, but like I feel like that's a risk that I know that I'm accepting, and that's my choice to make.
Absolutely. And a friend of mine, I remember seeing you roll into me on skates with a sheer toe stop.
Yeah, I was in university. I didn't have a ton of money, so replacing toe stops every so often and skate every day, it would not be really financially viable. So I would wear those things down to the bolt. In 2019, I did a cross Canada trip, and I dragged my skates with me everywhere. Those beach bunnies, I love those beach bunnies. But I went through 3 or 4 pairs of toe stops that summer. I'd just stop in every town and pick up another set of toe stops from the local skate shop. I remember one time, my very first pair of real good skates that I didn't pick up off of Kijiji, I wasn't rotating my wheels, and I was T-stopping all the time. So one of my wheels on my right foot, it looked like a derby wheel, like the thin outside layer, and all of the others were like gummies. I brought them into shop in Ottawa, and the person working there was like, I have never seen it this bad before.
And how did you even skate on that?
No, I've skated on some really jank setups.
You mentioned traveling across Canada.
Yeah.
Where's the favorite place that you've skated?
Ooh, that is a tough one. I think Whistler is always going to hold a really special place in my heart. That's a really gorgeous park. Whistler, you've got snowboarders and skiers there. in the winter, but in the summer, everyone's hanging out in the skate park. And it's just this massive park with huge features. I remember I was playing Igor's, that skate game.
International game of roller skate, I
Yep,
think.
exactly. So I'd stop in every park and try to do my Igor's. But I got spine transfer while I was in Whistler for several days. So I wasn't going to be able to take the time to go somewhere else and learn it. I just had to learn it in Whistler, and it's a 6-foot spine. So I just sat there all day trying to get this spine transfer. And yeah, I got my first spine transfer in Whistler, 6-foot spine.
Well, maybe you've seen it from a distance, the new skate park that they're building at Bob Quarry.
Definitely from a distance.
What do you think of that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that park. I live in Orleans, so having to go all the way to like Legacy or Canada for really, really good bigger park is going to be nice. And I'm so pumped for the pool coping. We do not have pool coping in Ottawa anywhere. Canada's got a little bit of pool coping, but it's not even remotely what we have in Orleans now.
So explain to a noob.
Oh, okay.
What's the difference between regular coping and pool coping?
Pool coping is what skateboarding started out on. They would just drain pools, and it would think of like rounded pool bottom. It's like straight down and then curves. Right, and that's kind of what pool coping is. It's way more vert than it is transition, whereas a normal quarter would be a lot more transition than vert.
That is terrifying.
It's a lot. Somewhere out there's a video of me at Ashbridges in Toronto. They've got this massive, the shallow end is 6 feet, the deep end is 11 feet. There's a video of me standing at the top of the coping for like 2 minutes straight before dropping in and screaming all the way down. I landed it, but it was only filmed 2 minutes of it, but it was an entire day of me just standing at the coping and looking down and trying to work up the courage to drop in.
Good for you. That is amazing.
Just you go flying with that because you're going straight down, right? So it's basically all gravity just pulling you down to the earth.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. What's the worst park you've ever skated at?
Trillium Park in Gloucester and Blackburn Hamlet. So I think it was the 2020 summer when everything was closed. I was like, well, like, what am I gonna do? Like, sit at home? I just went by myself to every single skate park in Ottawa that was like in a reasonable distance. So I just showed up alone and skated at every single park. And I remember I went to Blackburn Hamlet, which is not very close to anything. And again, I was living in Hull at the time. So, it took a while to get there. And of course, the park is empty. But it's like these 6 features. There was like one little box thing that had no coping or metal on it at all. There was a fun box, like pyramid thing with like stairs on one side, a like really sketchy quarter, and basically nothing else. And this transition that was almost like pool coping because it was way more vert. It was rough, and there was this metal transition, like concrete itself, and then there was a metal transition from the ramp onto the ground. It was so loud every time that you went over it. So I was there for like 20 minutes, and I was like, okay, never mind. Okay, while I'm here, let's hit the one in Gloucester. So I went there. It's the same park. It is the exact same thing. Piece for piece, every single element is the exact same thing. So I spent all of this time getting from Blackburn to Ogilvy and showed up, and I was ready to cry.
Oh,
God, just take me home. Whistler is meaningful to me. I think the best park I've skated at is Winnipeg. Right beside the train station, there is this massive skate park. 2 sections. There's a huge bowl section, and then there's a street section, which is all just like stairs and like plaza setup. And what I wouldn't give to skate there again. And I never actually stayed in Winnipeg. I traveled on the train, and Winnipeg is the halfway point between Toronto and Vancouver on the train, at least. So you're off the train for like an hour, hour and a half. And what did I do? You go to the skate park. So I got in both times in the middle of the night. I think it was like 10 o'clock one day and like 1 a.m. the other day. And I just went to the skate park and went skating, and it was just in awe at the size of everything. But it was the middle of the night, so I couldn't really do too much. And, this was 5 years ago, so I've definitely improved since then. I would love to go back. They have this entire half cradle. Think of like a 3/4 pipe. I would love to do something with that. I don't know how far upside down I can get, but I would love to get as far upside down as I could.
Are there any features that we don't have in Ottawa that you wish we did?
Well, a cradle. Honestly, I think we've got a pretty good diverse set of ramps in Ottawa. Maybe a mini ramp that is bigger than the one at Bob McQuarrie, but smaller than the hole at Canada. Something in that range, because I find Bob McQuarrie, learning on that ramp, for me at least, doesn't set me up to be able to do it on bigger ramps. And then Canada is very big to learn on. You really got to pump into that, and that's not always the best when you're learning. So maybe something to the size of like Charlie Bowen, that size quarter, but like a mini ramp setup. One thing we don't have here is a 90-degree transfer. In Rockland, there's a mini ramp about the size that I would like. And on the 90-degree from there's another quarter. I remember I spent an entire day there trying to get the transfer from one quarter 90 degrees onto the other into the mini ramp. That was like one of the most fun things at it.
An indoor skate park, obviously.
Oh my gosh, an indoor skate park. The yard. I learned so much there.
Yeah, we needed an indoor skate park.
I will suggest to anyone traveling, get to your hotel, just look up the closest skate park and skate there. Don't walk, don't drive, skate. You will really see the city in a very different way. It's a really nice way to explore, see things outside of touristy spots. I remember when I was in Puerto Rico, I was there on a cruise, and cruises are well known for not being the best way to explore what a place really is. I just found wherever the closest skate park was, and it led me into this really residential neighborhood in the middle of nowhere. There were no tourists anywhere. I stopped at like local mom and pop shop for lunch, and the park was literally just a pool. It was a pool bowl. It was just such a great experience getting to explore and just see the place in a different way. Yeah.
Do you ever run into like language barriers when you show up at the skate park?
I was in Prague, and I couldn't talk to anyone there. That was tough. It's just like, cool, good. Trying to like find common words with Czech, that was hard. But I don't know, you don't need to speak each other's language to appreciate what people are doing at the park.
I associate you more as being a park skater,
Yeah.
But you've dabbled in other types of skating.
Absolutely. So I started off doing trail skating, and at OQS doing dance skating. I was never really great at dancing, but it was fun to be in a space where there were so many other roller skaters who were passionate about skating. I have this vivid memory of showing up early one week, like walking into the gym and seeing OVRD's practice and just being like, whoa, full on like whip it, like walking into the arena and just being like, whoa, this is what I want to do. I joined ORD. I was living in Hull at the time, and they were practicing in Hull, so it was like really convenient for me. And I trained there for quite a while. I played 2 low contact games, but schedules haven't really worked out for me. It's hard to make derby work. I hope maybe at some point in the future, but
that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I'm a decent jammer, I think. I'm a very fast skater, very agile, but control and hitting was very, very hard for me.
But you're also a great jumper too, so I imagine
yes.
You did a few apex jumps.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't know, it's very showy. It's not always the best move, but it's a move that will get the crowd into it every single time.
Can I ask you about these awards you have over here?
Yeah, so I played in 2 games. I got 2 MVP Jammer awards.
Wow, 2 for 2. That's
2 for
amazing.
2. I don't know that I actually deserved them, but other people on my team I thought did a better job at jamming, but I did Apex jumps and it gets the crowd into it. But yeah, I've got my MVP Jammer award. I'm notorious for losing wheels. My first derby game, right before we were doing announcements, I skated over to the bench and immediately lost a wheel. And what are we going to do? We're going to like scour the ground for a nut. I was like, okay, who's got an extra nut back in the dressing room? Ran over to the dressing room on 7 wheels and screwed it back in, and I had to join them while they were on the track doing introductions.
We didn't talk about you being a musician.
I've always been musical. A while ago, I was at a friend's place, and then I saw in the corner, is that a mandolin? And they're like, yeah. My brother had a mandolin and gave me his mandolin. I don't know how to play it. I was like, wait, I actually do know how to play a mandolin, because a mandolin is tuned the same as a violin, and a violin and viola are tuned similar ways. And at one point in my life, I learned how to strum a viola for various reasons. So I already knew how to play the mandolin. And then I got my own mandolin, and like I've been in love with the instrument since. It's a lot of fun. It's really easy coming from a musical background because of the way it's tuned. It acts more like a piano. Like this is my little baby, my Eastwood Mandocaster, an electric mandolin. Very, very fun. I can hook this thing up to, I have an octave pedal, I've got an overdrive pedal, loopers, and it kind of just acts as an electric guitar for me, but in a way that works with my brain. So I feel thankful for roller skating. I feel like skating has offered me a lot of opportunities to make connections with people, to discover a lot about myself, about how I want to present myself to other people. Skating has given me confidence. Skating has also given me the opportunity to explore my community, to explore so many places in the world.
Cool. That was amazing. Thank you so much. That was great.